So, welcome back to another Unity tutorial regarding user interfaces, and in the following I'd like to show you how to handle UI on mobile devices. And when exporting a game to your phone, your UIs might still be messed up. So I'll be showing you 3 ways in order to fix your mobile UI, and the third one will be using this Oriental script that you can find in the description or in depth at the end of this video. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And now in Unity, I've got my canvas right here that renders onto my camera and scales with the size of my screen. And personally, what you should make sure first is by using the screen's width in order to resize the canvas if your game's in portrait mode, and using the screen's height when it's in landscape mode. So the first thing that unfortunately I see people having trouble with is when creating a new element for your canvas like that, and they want to have it in the bottom of their screen. They just do it like that, and as soon as they are on their mobile device, I'll use word space just for demonstration now, and the screen rescales, they're starting to be frustrated because of this. So please, if you're looking for an easy way to improve your UI on mobile devices, make sure to set your UI elements anchor to wherever you want your game object to be orienting at. For example, the bottom left corner. If you now set your position to 0, you can see that my pattern seems to already like the corner that I was just talking about, but not in the way that I was intending. So I have to make sure that the button's pivot is at 0 and 0 as well. When I now set this one to 20 and 20, that's exactly what I wanted to have. So these two points that I wanted to use to orientate seem to be set up accordingly. Now, the second thing that you should make sure is that if you want to have multiple elements at some point of your screen, like the center, to start using layout groups like that, as depending on your screen size, they might do a whole lot of work for you. Now, the third thing is, maybe you want to have entirely new layout depending on your device's orientation. Then of course you can still make use of the methods that I was just showing you, and I will still encourage you to force your game to be in one orientation only, but maybe in your specific case you still want to have one layout while being in portrait mode and one for being in landscape mode. What you can do then is using 2 canvases or just one canvas and create one group of elements for each of your orientations like that, and then using this Oriental script that I was teasing you with at the beginning, assign your elements for portrait mode right here, and vice versa. You don't have to attach this one to your canvas. You can also put your canvas in here, or use multiple of these, or to create one parent game object that you just put in here as the script, or depending on your orientation, enable or disable all elements that you inserted into these 2 arrays. And as you just saw, you could even use this dropdown to see how it would look like in your final build, and set this one to none if you don't want to. But don't worry, as soon as the game's on your device, this parameter will be set to none automatically. But obviously, if you're building for multiple platforms in general, you can just use multiple scenes for that and include each of them into one separate build. So this one will be just useful for you if you want to be handling multiple orientations for one platform. And now I wonder how this one does look like from the inside. And as we want to be able to simulate our orientation in edit mode as well as in play mode, we use the execute always attribute on top of this one, and then we got a drop down for simulated orientation right here that's able to have these 3 states, and of course the 2 arrays for the objects we want to enable depending on our current orientation. Next, our update method that is getting called continuously. Again, if we're already in our final build, we want to stop simulating the orientation anyway, and then if we're in portrait mode or in portrait mode upside down, which means our camera is heading towards us, or as you can imagine, if we want to simulate portrait mode, then we activate all of our portrait mode's game objects and deactivate our landscape object. And if our device is in landscape mode, we want to do the whole thing the other way around. Finally, how does it look like to activate or deactivate all game objects in one of these arrays? That should just translate to if this value is assigned. If not, we want to cancel right away. Then we want to iterate through every single of our objects and enable it or disable it depending on the case we have, that we tell or activate all function right here. Finally, if you're interested in having this whole demo scene for yourself, please check out my Patreon, like our very first supporter did 2 days ago. Thank you very much for that. And if you want to find out how to use layout groups that I was showing you earlier in order to create auto-scaling scroll views, please check out the playlist, and I'll see you next time.